The very first thought that comes to mind when you imagine a world without money is freedom. Freedom from debt, from the rat race, from the endless cycle of working just to pay the bills. It's a classic utopia, a dream of a world where value is based on what you can create or what you can do. A world where a baker trades a loaf of bread for a carpenter's work, where a farmer provides food in exchange for a doctor's care. It sounds so simple, so pure, and so fair. Money in our current world is the root of so much inequality, so much greed, and so much suffering. It's what drives wars, creates social divides, and dictates our very place in society. So what if we just took it out of the equation? What if we reset the entire global economy to zero? In this timeline, the year is 2025. A global event, a sudden, permanent computer glitch, a philosophical awakening, a universal decision, has rendered all forms of currency useless. All money has simply ceased to exist. On the surface, it seems like a new golden age. But as we'll discover, a world without money wouldn't be without its own rich and poor. It would simply create a whole new kind of currency, one far more difficult to earn and far more dangerous to spend. The barter system in practice, the problem of value. In the immediate aftermath, there would be a brief, chaotic period of celebration. People would take what they need from stores. The concept of ownership would still exist, but without money, things would quickly get complicated. For a society to function, there must be a way to exchange goods and services. The only option is a barter system, and it would be a logistical nightmare. The biggest issue is what economists call the double coincidence of wants. Imagine you're a fisherman. You have an abundance of fish, but what you really need is a new roof for your house. The carpenter who builds roofs doesn't want fish. He needs a pair of shoes. The cobbler who makes shoes doesn't want a roof. He wants your fish to feed his family. No exchange can take place. In our current world, money is the universal translator that solves this problem. Without it, transactions would collapse into a frustrating, never-ending chain of exchanges. Even if you find someone who wants what you have, how do you determine value? How many chickens is a doctor's visit worth? How many baskets of apples does it take to pay for a new engine for your car? The value of goods would be in constant flux based on supply and demand, and the negotiation would be endless. A baker's bread might be worth more in a hungry village, but a doctor's care is always in demand, giving them a level of power that a simple piece of paper could never bestow. This system would be inherently unequal and deeply inefficient. And what about the storage of value? You can't save a basket of fruit for retirement, and you can't save a year's worth of haircuts to pay for your child's education in the future. Money, in our world, acts as a store of value. It allows us to save our labor, our time, and our resources for a rainy day. Without it, the future would be terrifyingly uncertain. Everyone would be forced to live in a constant state of precarity, trading their goods and skills on the fly just to survive each day. The new power currency, a world without rich or poor? The title of this video is a question, and the answer is no. A world without money would not be a world without rich or poor. It would simply replace a transparent, numerical currency with a new, far more insidious one: influence, favors, and reputation. In this new reality, the person with the most power wouldn't be the one with the biggest bank account, but the one with the most useful skills. A plumber, a doctor, a farmer, an electrician, these people would hold immense power. They could demand anything from a community, and the community would have to give it to them, because a world without a plumber is a world with no working pipes. The new rich would be those who had amassed a network of favors and obligations. I'll give you a new roof for your house, but you owe me a favor. This would create a shadow economy of debt, and people would be forced to do things they don't want to do, all because of an unspoken favor they owed. This system, based on personal connections and social standing, would be far less democratic and far more difficult to change than a system based on money. It would be a world run by a new kind of social elite, a barter-based aristocracy. And what about the new poor? They would be people with skills that no one needs or wants. An artist, a philosopher, a historian, these people who add so much to our lives would be forced to find a new way to contribute or starve. Their talents would be deemed non-essential, and they would be ostracized from a society that values only the most basic utilitarian skills. The social impact, from greed to desperation. The societal impact of this change would be devastating. Without money, what would motivate people to do the jobs no one wants? Who would be a sanitation worker, a miner, or a garbage collector? These jobs are crucial to our health and well-being, but they're not desirable. In our current world, money is the incentive. In this world, we would have to resort to forced labor, a system based on social obligation that would quickly turn into a form of servitude. Even relationships would change. Without money, every interaction becomes a transaction. A birthday gift isn't a gift, it's a social debt. A friend helping you move isn't a friend, they are someone who expects a favor in return. The simple, kind interactions that make our society function would be tainted by a constant sense of unspoken obligation and negotiation. This timeline is a terrifying reminder that while money has its flaws, it also has a purpose. It's a universal measure of value that provides a clear, transparent system. It allows us to trade with strangers, to save for the future, and to value a person for their labor, not their social standing. A world without money wouldn't be a utopia. It would be a world of endless haggling, new forms of inequality, and a society constantly on the brink of collapse. This timeline may seem like a fantasy, but it shows us just how balanced our world truly is. If you want to keep exploring the what-ifs and see how our world could be different, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Timeline Shift, and get ready for our next adventure.